Good morning, everyone. Mark from MT.TrainRestorations here, continuing our little project that we have with the 613, 614, 615 passenger set from Lionel. We're going to do a little bench grinding today on the wheel. I'm going to clean up some of these parts and pieces from the work I did with my sandblaster. So I'm going to show everybody just a little bit of this on what we do to clean up the cars here to get them ready for paint. So let me scoot this on over here and get a good aim at what we're doing on the grinder. And we'll go from there. So it's not so bad. Everybody has a bench grinder, I'm not sure, but this is what I use as my wheel. And if you remember from the baggage car with the little doors, brought the main body over here, parts of the roof. We're just cleaning them up, show you how I clean those up a little bit. So again, use precautions. I do wear a mask. It does kick off a little bit of dirt, a bit of dust. Don't want to breathe that in too much. I do a lot of it. And always be cautious around power tools, especially these. These have a lot of power. It doesn't take a whole lot for this to kick this piece back out, and it'll go flying. So do as much as you can with your wire wheel, and don't force it. Don't try to do something too dangerous with it. Get as close as you can. Then the rest of this I'll do with my little either Dremel or wire brush, but these clean up pretty good. And if you remember, the little handles, we found out that they were brass, so that's a good thing. I took the one off. They did solder them on, whoever did that, but that's okay. I like to take them off and clean the whole door pretty well, and then shine up the brass handle and put it on later. So if I leave these on, I may have to tape them off as I finish them, which isn't a big deal. We'll tackle that when it comes down to time to paint. But you can see the difference. I mean, it's better than sanding and sanding and sanding some of these things to get them to a nice finish. So I'll do these other doors later on. We'll do a piece of the roof. Got a little bit of red paint still on it. This wheel will take that right off. As I said, just be careful. We got to respect the wheel. You don't want to just jam things in there. It'll catch. It could bend this and rip it right and bend it all up. Took that paint right off of there. Does a really nice job. Hope you can see that all okay. Yep, it's pretty nice. Use my arm in the way. Yeah, that cleaned that up nice. Now if we were going to prime this and paint it, it's all ready to go for that. If I was going to powder coat it, it's ready to powder coat just the way it is. You don't have to use any primer with powder coat. This here, it's too difficult to get down in there, so I'll do this with a wire brush manually, and I just do it to clean it up because it's not seen, it's hidden, so it's not that big of a deal. I do a little bit of the body, a little bit of red paint still here and there. These take a little bit more time, obviously. They're big. There's a lot of detail on them. Again, be careful. And just get that in there. See, it does a nice job. If remember, the fellow who renovated these before added these little brass rails to hold the coupler. Did a nice job doing it. I'm going to leave them. They're not stock. Stock would have been a piece of metal going across, which was part of the body. Those get mangled up, and they often break off. I'm thinking that was the case here. Yeah, so this is doing a pretty nice job here. I've done a few pieces over the years where these cleaned up so well and brought out the detail so nice that I just clear coated the car. Left it natural metal and just clear coated it. They came out really nice. I added a couple, you know, some of the details I put color on, but the whole body I did is clear, and it looked like almost like a streamliner aluminum trailer. It's cleaning up pretty nice compared to this half. See, you do that to the whole car best you can, and then some dental tools will do some detailing with. That'll get the rest of the paint off. The insides of the car, can't do much about that except do it manually. Just can't get in there with the wire wheel. Yes, coming out pretty nice. I might have mentioned before, this set actually came to me, and the reason I bought it, it looked in really good shape. For being it's 80 years old, there's no dents, no dingies. The bodies are all good shape, the roofs are in good shape, everything's in good shape that I have. It just unfortunately don't have all the parts. Somebody substituted a lot of the original parts with some homemade things, and I guess maybe he got them and they were in worse shape, so it's hard to say. We're going to get them as back to original as we can, with parts or with whatever parts is available out there and what I can find. So I don't want to bore you with all this because this does take some time. I just wanted to show you what could be done with a wire wheel once these cars are stripped of paint. And like I said, I media blasted these parts to get all the paint off. So we're going to go back to the workbench, and then we'll talk about what the next steps are, and we'll go from there. I'll see you in a minute. Okay, we're back at the workbench, and I just want to talk briefly about some of the parts and pieces we have left over. These are the trims. You probably remember some of these. These are the spring-loaded catches for the roof, and they were painted. painted black, like everything else on the bottom side of the roof. So like I said, the paint's not very difficult to get off. I'll get those. I already did one. I did it on the wheel, wire wheel. Only took me a couple minutes, and here we go. That's what it looks like. Cleaned up very nice. It's nickel finish. I'll leave it natural nickel, and the springs, everything was soaking overnight in some CLR. I use CLR a lot. Just put it in my little plastic cup and make sure everything's submerged. I put it in there for several hours or overnight, and it cleans off a lot of stuff. I mean, it'll get rid of all the grime. These are all greasy and grimed up, these axles, and it cleaned that off to some degree. It takes off rust, even takes some paint off here and there. So I use it for just about anything. It's really great for cleaning wheels. And as far as trucks, it'll take the paint off of trucks. Whatever Lionel used on the trucks to paint them black, CLR takes it right off pretty well. In about 10-15 minutes, you pull that out, wipe it off, and you're down to the bare metal. Some of the other manufacturers, not so easy, but for whatever reason, Lionel, their trucks clean off real nice. So again, with the wire wheel, I use that a lot. It does a lot of my cleaning, saves a lot of sandpaper or steel wool. But I cleaned 3 axles just on the wheel. It took me about 10-15 seconds to do each axle. You can see, you know, they come out really nice and clean compared to what they are now. So I'll do those up, do them all. They'll look like that. I'll clean the rest of these like this. You saw me a few minutes ago clean off the door from the baggage car, and there's the handle. I took off one of the other doors. The steps, after I did a little research, finding out that the years these cars were made, between 31 and 40, the early cars had a latch coupler, which would go in here, so on and so forth. 30 through 34, I believe, 35, they came out with a box coupler. I think I might have mentioned that before. Looks like this, so that was under there. But I think I'm going to try to stick with the early years, the 31 through 34, and get those back to where they were. Now, with that said, I was working on these handles. They've been painted a few times. These little handles, I think what the gentleman did, he put these on when he was painting, and he painted everything red. Then he came back later with some gold paint on, maybe a little, like a model car color paint that you use, and he did that with gold. He put gold on those handles. I don't know if he knew, but he could have bought brass, authentic brass handles. He could have bought brass ones, and he would have been better off. You can buy them in brass. You can also buy them in chrome or nickel, which I have a lot of those too. So the dilemma I have is the model year of 31 through 34, they use brass trims on most of these cars. They didn't switch over till nickel until 1935. And then from 35 to 40, they changed the couplers a few times, they changed the trims a few times, back and forth, but the body style basically stayed the same. So I'm not sure which direction I'm going to go yet. Brass is appealing to me depending on the color we use. Need to hear from you guys out there, girls, what color scheme you'd like to see this. I'm open to suggestions. I've done a lot of different combinations. I got tons of colors, so if we use something in, you know, blues and silvers and grays and blacks or whatever, the nickel looks good. use something. If we do red, green, yellowish, orange, whatever, brass looks good. So I have some time. Once we decide on the color, then I'll start taking care of these railings. I'll take care of the steps. I am short a few steps. I think each passenger car will get 4. The observation car will only get a pair. They're only where the doors are. And then I have another passenger car over at the wheel getting ready to be cleaned. I have another one sitting over there, so that's going to be 4 more, so that's 12. And then the baggage car really don't have any, because it doesn't, I mean, they're all notched out. They all have a slot for a step, because the bottom, they don't know, and they all press them out the same. They're all stamped the same, but they don't require a step. So we have, what we got here? We got 4, 8. I'll be missing 3. I think I have. Yeah, I have more than that in here. I got, these are new old stock. I even have a couple brass ones if we go to brass, but I'll have to get some more. But I have four nickel ones, or chrome, whatever you want to call it. So I'm okay there. So we have railings, we have the option for railings, we have options for the steps. There's not a lot of other missing parts that I have. The trucks are the biggest thing. I do have all but one truck. I think I can probably steal one off another car, a junker that I have laying around. I got a lot of those, so I'll have to dress these up and get these ready to go. I have plenty of wheels. I have journals. I believe in the years I was talking about, 31 through 34, the journals on these, they say that they use copper with the brass. So I'm going to have to check that out. I think the brass ones would look better, but we'll see. You know, again, I can buy journals, and I believe I can buy all of them, copper, brass, nickel, and black. They did go to a black journal later on, I think 1938. I'm not sure how that looked, but depending on the color. They made these in, I think, 4 colors. Blue with silver, and they did a terracotta with red. They did a green, a darker green body with the lighter green roof and air tank. And I'm trying to and they did red. They had red with, I think, I don't remember what color roof, maybe silver, or they might have had the flip side. They might have had the terracotta roof with the red body, because they had the red terracotta body with the red roof. But they only had 4 combinations of colors back then for these, and they kind of kept with that. They're rare to find, you know, the blue ones, the red ones, the green ones. They're not real prevalent. You do see some of the terracotta and some of the green, but the blue and the reds, you almost don't see those anymore. Don't know why. Maybe nobody, you know, people didn't buy a lot of them, or maybe they just kept them. But so that's where we're at with these. Again, the next episode will be, I'll have these, all 4 cars that we're going to work on. We have about 1.5 to 2 of them wire wheeled, and I wanted to do an inventory on parts to see what we need to purchase, if anything, and find through my stock what we have, and then we'll go from there. Lights, 3 cars have lights, the observation car and the 2 passenger cars. I have 2, and I did find out that I thought the one was brass. It is brass. One is brass and one is nickel. They're not really the lights that go in there, but they'll do. I mean, I have no reason not to use them. But what these are mainly used for is for it's a deck light. It's a strap light. They call it the strap light, and it goes on these earlier models of the Lionel. This is a 150. They used them all the way from 1915 to probably 1930, maybe a little bit past that. The 150 series, the 250 series, you know, the 250, the 251, the 252, the 253, 254. Some of those had strap lights, or some of them had the cast light housing, but they all mounted on the top like that. So that's what these are. They're just, the guy that had this before me is just using them this way. He puts them, he just screwed it down inside that way and worked out fine as long as it lights up. So I got to get another light, and then we'll be all set for those parts. Have to do a little body work on some of the rusty spots. Not a problem, we can do that. And that'll be it. Then we'll be ready for colors, either priming or powder coating, and maybe a little bit of both. I do both, and I've done cars that have paint on some parts of it and powder coat on the other. So, and I'm still trying to decide what to do with that basket. I don't know if I should leave it on there soldered on or try to cut it all off, and depending on if we go with brass, because I do have a brass one that has the little plate on the back. This one has a little plate. I'll have to look it up and see what it said. I think it just said Lionel, but I'm not sure. So that's it for today. I'm going to leave you with send me some comments if you're interested, if you like what I'm doing, and if you have some color combination that you'd maybe like to see or like to try. Shoot me a comment. You can shoot me an email. My email is MT.TrainRestorations @gmail.com. That's MT.TrainRestorations, all one word, @gmail.com. I'll check my emails later on and see what we have, and we'll go from there. So for now, it's going to be I'm gonna head out and you get some lunch, and I will talk to you again on the next episode. Thanks everybody for watching. I'll see you then.